So those are just some things to take a look at. And I really want you to also not just get to where you can see relationships relative to joints as opposed to your arm relative to the world around you, but I want you to start seeing in multiple dimensions at the same time. I'll show you what I mean. Something I've always wanted to show in class, and it's not possible, for the simple reason that people can't be two places at one time. Unless they're talking quantum physics, of course. But in the gym, it's tough. What I'm always wanting people to see in class is not just this top view, this anterior view that we looked at in the very beginning, but at the same time envision a superior view from the head end, which we looked at a little bit earlier with two different rib cages, or two different sizes of rib cages. But also, simultaneously with the superior view, is this lateral view that is so incredibly important because it starts to bring together mechanical ability from an improved perspective besides just looking at this fan from the head end. Here's what I mean. What you saw before from the head end, only look on the left side now, please. You saw this angle right here, and you were able to see, oh wow, it comes from right here. If you can ignore all these crossing fibers that are more superior on the rib cage, the inferior fibers from the rib cage become the superior fibers on the humerus, and you can see that tremendous angle right there, right? It's a nice angle. And then as you get more towards these other fibers, we start to lose that force angle. So this offered us an appearance, or at least an observational ability to look at this angle from this point of view. But you go over and look at your right side of your screen now, and what you recognize is that these fibers, that while having an improved force angle / moment arm at the joint, around this axis by the way, they are not pulling in the plane. So if this was the plane of gravity, vertical, right? This person's lying on their back. So there's gravity from the side view, you can kind of see that. And if the person's moving in this horizontal plane, consistent with gravity, you can see that these fibers are more in the plane on the right side, even though they don't have a great mechanical ability as obvious on the left side. However, these fibers on the left side that have a better mechanical ability, you can see from the right side, are not in the plane. And if you remember in Muscle Mechanics 1, we talked about those multiple relationships. There's a moment arm influence in torque, but there's also an influence with how in the plane is a muscle. That does not mean this is not going to work. Your brain is going to use everything on this side of the axis, right here, if I can point it out again, everything on this side of the axis that's remotely helpful, including this guy. But there's this thing I want you to start recognizing that we can actually see really well from here. And it's called the plane of the fan. And you may remember this if you watched all this in order and you think back to Muscle Mechanics 3, along with the multiple joint muscles, we also talked about the plane of the fan. And this is exactly what I meant. I'm not sure the slides were so good for that, but I knew we'd get to this at some point. Look at this, and I'm not talking on the right side of your screen. I'm not talking about the sternal angle right now. Certainly, what I'm getting ready to show you is consistent with that. But I want you to see this array of fibers right here. And if I were to work my way across the fibers, this was what I'm calling the plane of the fan. So from the side view, you can kind of see that. From the head view, you can kind of see that. But if I took this pointer and put it along flat on the fibers, there's a plane right there, right? What happens if I'm moving consistent with gravity, using resistance, moving my arm somewhat vertical, up and down, and what if the plane of the fan changes? Or what if someone's built such that the fan is more vertical here, more consistent with gravity and the plane of movement? So if I go here, what did you just see from the side view? That fan increased slightly towards the plane of resistance. These fibers are a little more vertical now. So they went from something like this to something like this, I'm getting more fibers, not only in the plane, but if you watch from this head view, watch this, watch. Watch the force angle of those guys change a little bit too. Can you see that?